Hello, guys, and welcome to the FPL Duo, and welcome to the knee-jerk reaction for Game Week 20. So, yeah, it's a very eventful game week. I think we've just seen the last two games of today, Arsenal and Fulham, and Tottenham and Bournemouth. Some interesting results from those games today, and so far in this game week. But yeah, it's been a mixture of good and bad, I think, and a few shocks here and there. So, just before I get into this stream, obviously Huss is still not feeling well enough to stream, so he will be absent for this stream. So it will just be me doing the knee-jerk reaction stream today, but he should be back hopefully when we next stream, and hopefully he gets well very soon. But without further ado, before I get into the stream, obviously make sure you give this video a like, leave a comment if you wish, and subscribe for more content. So on the screen, as you can see, is my team so far in Game Week 20 and how it's done. Now, obviously, there is a few fixtures that still have yet to be played, which is the Newcastle and Liverpool one and the Brighton and West Ham one. But I will go through the players that we've obviously already started and have already finished their games. So to kick it off with, we have... sorry, I've put one moment. Yeah, so obviously Ariola has Brighton at home, so obviously he won't play. He hasn't played yet, so we have to find out what happens with him. But we move on to the back three. So obviously Trent again, he's playing Newcastle at home on Monday, so we'll see what happens on there. But we move on to Pedro Porro. So he manages to get his clean sheet right very late in that 3-1 win over Bournemouth. So it was looking like a clean sheet for Spurs in that game, but unfortunately it wasn't to be, and they did concede to Bournemouth. And yeah, it was quite annoying. It looked like Pedro Porro was on for a nice clean sheet and maybe a few bonus points as well, but because of that late goal for Bournemouth, it wiped his clean sheet, which only left Pedro Porro on his 2 points, which is a bit annoying, I think, for us owners, for the clean sheet to be taken off so late in that game. But it is what it is. Spurs' defense is quite vulnerable sometimes in matches, and I was surprised that Bournemouth only scored one in that game. Moving on to the next defender, and that is Branthwaite. Obviously, Branthwaite only got the 1 point. Oh, sorry, apologies. I've got Huss's team up here instead. There, this is my team on the screen now. So Branthwaite only gets 1 point from his game in that 3-0 loss to Wolves. So obviously, because of the goals conceded by Branthwaite, that meant he had a point taken off of him, which left him on only 1 point. So yeah, I was not very. Well, I was half surprised and half not with the Everton score. I thought they would score Everton. I'm surprised Wolves get the clean sheet, but a nice win for Wolves in that game. Moving on to the midfield. So yeah, the midfield has been quite good in terms of returns. I've got 3 out of 3 returns actually. Also with Salah to play against Newcastle at home, who is my captaincy as well for this week. But we'll talk about Foden coming off of his double haul in that 12-pointer, getting 2 assists, the clean sheet point, and the bonus 3 as well. So yeah, it was a nice haul for Foden, and especially for those who did bring him in for that fixture against Sheffield United at home. It did pay off because he was my transfer for Game Week 20. And yeah, the transfer paid off massively in that regard. So yeah, I'm happy that the transfer paid off, and happy that 12 points came from Foden in that 2-0 win over Sheffield United. Obviously, Salah plays against Newcastle at home, so we'll have to wait and see how he does. Saka, on the other hand, even though Arsenal lost 2-1 in a shocking result, I was very impressed the way Fulham played in that game. I thought they were pretty good at keeping Arsenal at bay and stopping them from really getting any chances whatsoever. But Saka did score the only goal for Arsenal, and it does leave us in a bit of a pickle, because that is Saka's goal, I believe, since, and it's been a long time coming, but since Game Week 14, I believe that's when the last time Saka scored a goal. So with him scoring today, it has annoyed some people because a lot of people took Saka out prior to this game week, and he's unfortunately returned the goal. But it's a nice 7-pointer from Saka regardless, and yeah, it gives us some time to think what we do with Saka now. Is he still a keep, or do we get rid of him still, even though he did score? But again, Arsenal did lose that game in a surprise loss to Fulham. Moving on to the last midfielder, and that is Hwang. So Hwang manages to get an attack and return before he obviously goes away to the Asia Cup. So he got an assist and a clean sheet point in that 3-0 win over Everton. So I was quite happy that Hwang got me one last attack and return before he before he goes now to the Asia Cup. So a nice, obviously a nice 6-pointer from Hwang. Moving on to the front three. So we start off with Wissa, and yeah, Brentford, they lost 3-1 to Crystal Palace, and Wissa blanked in that fixture. I didn't think Brentford played really well in that game. I thought Crystal Palace were pretty on top of them and throughout, and I think Elise actually scored the hat trick, which is why he's on the thumbnail. So it was a nice win for Crystal Palace, and a huge win for obviously Elise for the 3 goals he scored against Brentford. But yeah, no return for Wissa before he goes to AFCON, but he did return me a goal in the last game week. Moving on to Julian Alvarez, who got his 7-pointer. Now, a lot of you did bring Alvarez in and also captained him, which did pay off if you did captain him, because that is 14 points for you. And for those who didn't, I think it's still worthwhile because he did score the goal and got the bonus 1 on top of that, so that he ends up on 7 points, which is a nice return in that 2-0 win over Sheffield United. So I'm happy with the Alvarez return, especially with his goals not really coming thick and fast so far this season. And we finally move on to Watkins, who also got 2 assists in that 3-2 win over Burnley. It was a bit uncertain whether Aston Villa were going to lose this game or potentially draw it, the way Burnley were coming back into the game late on in that match. So it could have seen another Man United performance where they come back from winning ways and then end up losing the game. But yeah, it ended up 3-2, very high scoring game. And Ollie Watkins was part of the 2 assists from obviously two of the 2 goals that obviously Aston Villa scored in that game, which left him on 8 points. And just quickly on the bench, so there's not really much to talk about on the bench, obviously, because there's 2 injured players, Tsimikas and Doucouré, who aren't expected to play, and who have expected to play, and Leno, who ends up on 1 point from that 2-1 win over Arsenal. So it could have been a chance maybe Leno would have kept a clean sheet in that, but it wasn't to be. Thankfully not, because I did bench him. And Trippier, he plays against Liverpool away, so we have to wait and see what Trippier does. But overall, it's been not such a bad game week so far, I think. Considering Liverpool assets are still yet to play, and also Areola too for West Ham, I think it's been pretty good game week. I mean, my captain's still in play. I'm on a red arrow currently on 333k and 45 points so far, which isn't too bad. I think it's a good position. I kind of wish I was on the green arrow up to this point, but it's just a small red for me at the moment. But hopefully the Salah captaincy pays off, and obviously Trent and Areola too. But yeah, it's not such a bad game week so far, and more fixtures are yet to come during this game week, so we have to wait and see for that. Now, we move on to obviously Huss's team, and I'll talk you through how his team went through the stream. So start off with obviously Areola has yet to play, so we have to wait and see for that. So we move on to the defense. So Pedro Porro, obviously we've spoken about him, no clean sheet for him and only 2 points. Gabriel, I was expecting Arsenal to keep a clean sheet, but yeah, so shockingly they didn't, and yeah, they did lose 2-1 to Fulham, so that only leaves Gabriel with the 1 point for obviously the goals he conceded, taking that point off of him. And obviously Trent, he plays Monday night, so we have to wait and see for him. So moving on to the midfield, we got Saka, who's on his obviously 7-pointer. He scored the goal, one of the only goal for Arsenal, and only got his 7 points. Now we move on to the big one, which is Palmer. So he scores the 2 goals, gets the 1 assist and the bonus 3 on top of that, and scored a massive haul for this game week. And yeah, a massive transfer in Palmer, I think, has been, and Chelsea in general. He's looked pretty good, on fire, and that massive 18-pointer, especially if you captained him as well, is huge, especially for an early fixture. That's really paid off in terms of those who have Palmer, and he was in fact my killer for this game week because of the amount of points he scored and the amount of people that have Palmer around my team. So I was a bit annoyed at that because I kind of wish I had Palmer at this point and would have got his 18 points. Move on to obviously Son, the next player. He obviously scored a goal and got the bonus 2 as well in that match against Bournemouth. And yeah, Son had another great game before he obviously goes to the Asia Cup. So I think he's happy to see him score before he obviously goes off now, because he is now not in the Premier League, not in the future game weeks, as long as he's in the Asia Cup ends. So yeah, nice 9-pointer for Son. Obviously, Salah plays Monday night, so it's to wait and see how he does. So moving on to the front three, we've got Watkins on his 8-pointer. Like we mentioned, 2 assists from him, which left him on 8 points. Solanke actually blanked, which was quite a surprise. I thought he would actually score against Spurs, but there was only 1 goal, and that was scored by Scott for Bournemouth. So yeah, a blank for Solanke, surprisingly, and a few captainers that did captain Solanke might be feeling a bit annoyed at obviously Bournemouth's performances away at Tottenham. And finally, move on to Alvarez, Huss's captain, which did pay off. I was quite surprised that the captaincy switched because I think he was on Salah, and then it was a quick switch to Alvarez. And I believe he did transfer in Alvarez for Archer because his original plan was to take out Gordon and bring in Bowen, but he did change his mind and brought in Alvarez, which paid off because he did score Alvarez in that game and got the bonus 1. And because of the captaincy, that is 14 points. So the captain did pay off for this week for Huss. And in terms of the bench, so obviously the triple Newcastle play on Monday night. So we have to wait and see how they do. And obviously Taylor, he played and got 0 points. So yeah, it's not a bad game week for Huss. 61 points so far and a considerable green arrow. His original rank was 471k. It is now 310k. So it was a nice green arrow for Huss so far. And yeah, it's looking good for the rest of the game week. I think you can pretty much ensure himself that he has a green arrow going at the end of game week, obviously game week 20. But yeah, with both our teams spoken through now, I will move on to obviously what game week 21 will include. Obviously, because of us not being here, I will just show my plans for game week 21. So just bear with me, guys. I will just switch over to my team and what it looks like for game week 21. And yeah, we'll talk about how that's going to go down. And there I go. So here we are. So yeah, this is how my team looks like for game week 21. Obviously, there's quite a few substantial flags in the team. As you can see, there is obviously because of the Asian AFCON Cup now in progress. Obviously, Huang, Wissa, Salah, Simicast, not Simicast, but Decore as well, if he's fit, will all go to Asian AFCON competition. And obviously, Simicast is out injured long term, so I don't expect him to play whatsoever. So it does leave me in a position where the wildcard territory comes into play, because with the amount of flags I have, I think I have 1, 2, 3, 4. I have 5 flags in my team. It's going to take a lot of transfers and hits to recover from that. So I think the way forward is activate my wildcard for game week 21. And because the obviously the game week for 21 is very far away, it does give me a lot of time to prepare and plan to go forward, obviously with my team, and obviously gives me a lot of time, 2 weeks to choose which players I want and obviously see how they do during the break. So yeah, I think that is my current plan. Obviously, before I show you what I'm doing with my wildcard team and what it would look like, I'll just read a few of your comments out in the chat. So we've got a comment from Krogsberg who says 53 points with Darwin and Salah captain to play. Yeah, I think that's really good, Krogsberg. You're in a good position. I imagine that's a green arrow for you so far. And yeah, with the Liverpool assets yet to play, you can probably ensure yourself of a nice rank gainer. I got a comment from Alex. He's on 70 currently and up to 45k. Yeah, high scoring game week, I think, for a few of us. And yeah, nice 45k rank. Yeah, I think it's lovely to be up there, Alex. And on 70k currently, and I expect you have Liverpool assets to play still, so that could be a nice game week for you before the New Year's. And we've got a comment from Jun Tao. It says 57 points with Trent and Salah captain to play. So yeah, there's a lot of us that have Salah and Trent to play, I think, going forward into this game week. So there is a lot of excitement, I suppose, for the New Year's Day fixture, and hopefully that brings good things in New Year's. A comment from Alex says, Jordan, I'm telling you now, if you want to end on the higher rank this season, do not use your wild card next week. Yes, Alex, it's because of the players. See, I'm not really happy with the team structure at the moment, and I think if I take lots of hits each game week to fix and recover these, I don't know if it's going to pay off. But I know we have to take hits sometimes to obviously get a better rank. But for my team, I don't know who I'll take out for the hits. I mean, I know who I'm really planning for my wild card, but yeah, obviously I have 2 weeks to think about it. It's not 100% certain I'm going to wild card. Obviously, I think I've chosen to think about it in game week 21, well, up to the upcoming game week 21. It gives me 2 weeks to think about it to make sure what my decision is. But I'm not 100% on the wild card yet, but it is in mind. So yeah, we have to wait and see with that. I will tinker with the team a lot in the 2 week break. So yeah, yes, we have to wait and see what I actually do. I might keep the wild card, I might not, but we'll see. I got a comment from Fatality with 65 with Salah, Trent, Ariel to go. Yeah, the same with me, pretty much. Salah, Trent, Ariel left. I think pretty much everyone has the common 3 of those, and hopefully Ariel keeps a clean sheet for this game week. I got another comment from Pranav, who says 46 points with Son captain, Salah, Dubravka, Nunes, Souček to play. So yeah, you have a lot of players yet to play, Pranav, and on 46 points, that's not so bad either. So yeah, hopefully the Son captain pick paid off as well for you, which is nice. And yeah, with the rest of your team, it looks pretty good. So good luck with that. I got another quote from Alex says, would just do Salah to Bowen and Hwang to Palmer for a hit. Yeah, it's not bad 2 transfers for a hit to do, and does make sure I have a playing 11 as well. But again, I'll be playing Trippier, who's got Man City at home. And I don't know what I'm feeling about that. But yeah, again, it's something I have to plan and think about in these 2 weeks, what I do in terms of my transfer plans going forward. Because there is a lot to think about my team, as there is a lot of headaches as well to go along with it. I got a comment from Fatality says, Happy New Year's from Cape Town, South Africa. Yeah, Happy New Year. For those who if it's already New Year's Day for you, I imagine around the world, it's still New Year's Eve for us here. But yeah, Happy New Year's to you, Fatality, and for everyone else as well. And Fatality with, I think that's at least with 2 goals and assist. He is flagged now. Oh, right. I didn't realise that 3rd goal wasn't to, at least it said on the app it was originally, but if it's 2 goals and assist, then yeah, that's that's still as good as from Elise. I think it's an outstanding performance for Crystal Palace. It's unfortunate he's flagged now, yeah, after that. We saw that with Huang after his 2 goals and was flagged, and hopefully at least isn't serious. Yeah, but at least he got the 2 goals and an assist, obviously, before that happened. I got a comment from Harry, says, evening, Harry. 58 with Salah and Trent into top 10k. Oh, nice. Very nice place to be before New Year's, into New Year's. So, yeah, well done on that. With Salah captain to play in Trent, that is going to be huge, I think, if that pays off. I got a comment from Krogsberg. I'm considering Son to Elise and Salah to bench. That's an interesting move. But Elise currently flagged. We have to wait and see with that, but hopefully should be okay. Obviously, he has a lot of time off now for him to recover. But yeah, I like the moves because obviously Son's off to the Asia Cup. Does leave a lot of money as well for taking Son out. And yes, you are benching Salah as well. I've been intrigued, Kolsberg. Are you going to hold on to Salah as well, or are you going to transfer him out as well down the line? I've got a comment from Pranav who says, which transfers are you considering on? Well, I'm a bit in a divide, Pranav. I'm in a divide whether I wild card or take hits through game weeks to get rid of the flagged players in my team. So it's a split 50, and I'm not quite sure what to do in terms of my transfer plans but I'm either going to wild card in game week 21 or I'm going to take hits in game week 21. But let's say I did take a -4. Definitely priorities would be taking out Salah, who has the most money, and potentially bringing in Palmer as one of the picks, because I think Palmer is at this point essential, especially after that 18-pointer, and bringing in potentially potentially bringing in another midfielder as well. So I would take the Corey out because he's off to AFCON, and bringing in Bowen, who I've wanted for ages. So I think Palmer and Bowen would have been my picks, because my midfield is quite empty, especially with Wang off to Asia Cup. I only leaves Foden and Saka in there. So I need to fill up my midfield, I think. Harry Dawson, who says, Jota and Bruno coming in for me. Bruno Fernandes, if that's Bruno from Man United, I'm quite intrigued by that, especially after their performance after that game the other day, which I did say, even though Garnacho got an assist for that game, that was down to a mistake as well from the goalkeeper. So if that didn't happen, I don't think Man United was going to score in that game, and I'm still not set on Man United assets. I think you know how strongly I feel about them, and I knew that Aston Villa performance was somehow not going to be replicated in the forthcoming fixtures that Man United do have. So I'm still staying away from Man United assets, but it could be a nice differential if Bruno does get something out of their games that Man United do have. Got another comment from Fatality. Needs Salah and Bowen to blank. Yeah, that's a massive ask for Salah, especially to blank against Newcastle at home at Anfield, because a lot of people do have Salah. I've captained Salah as well, so yeah, it's going to be a massive surprise if Salah does blank, and Bowen as well on top of that. But yeah, hopefully it all works out. I got a comment for Fatalities as who the best replacements for Son and Salah. I think it depends on if you're looking for differentials or players that are moderately template, because if I was looking at players that I think are good replacements, I'll say Palmer and Bowen as good replacements in terms of template if you haven't got them already. In terms of differentials, I like Pascal Gross for Brighton. I think Brighton's fixtures are really nice at the moment, and with Estupiñán back in the Brighton team, Brighton look a little bit more structured as well. So especially with Matoma going to Asia Cup as well, I quite like how that may leave Pascal Gross to be a bit more nailed as well for minutes and potentially attacking threat as well, playing more forward. So yeah, I think Pascal Gross as a differential would be nice. Another differential, I think Richarlison is the perfect replacement for Son. I think a lot of us would do that because Son is off the Asia Cup, obviously. So yeah, I think Richarlison, especially after him scoring today against Bournemouth, I think that's put a lot of Richarlison in our heads and the minds to bring him in place for Son. Paytay says Bruno, yeah, Man United. They're just not got going yet, I don't think, and I don't know when they'll actually get going this season. It seems like they don't have a plan going forward in games, and yeah, it just looks deflated with Man United. You can't tell what Man United are going to bring to a match. I mean, that Aston Villa one, still, I can't get over that one at all on how they managed to come back. But yeah, it's a mixed bag from Man United and what you expect to get from them. I've got a quote from Michael. It says, Elise or Richarlison? I think I would pick Richarlison. I think, especially with Elise being flagged at the moment, it shouldn't be that bit of a problem because he has got a nice break after, obviously, today. But I think Richarlison is the best pick because he'll be the only striker for Spurs playing with Son being Asia Cup. So yeah, I'd probably rate Richarlison over Elise, especially when Richarlison have Man United away. Who knows what's going to happen in that game? You got another comment from Harry. Says KDB best replacement. In terms of best replacement, do you mean you have KDB or do you want to have a best replacement for KDB? If so, I think perhaps Son comes close to his price mark in terms of a best replacement for him. I have been looking at KDB because he did feature that Man City game against Sheffield on the bench, and I believe he did come on as well. So yeah, I wouldn't rule out KDB. I think he could be a nice pick. It does leave other players like Foden in terms of minutes risk though. So, but yeah, I'll probably say Son around that price mark or Salah. Those who are around that are expensive price. We're not coming from Roman. It says 47 with Salah, Captain Trent, Bowen, and Everyone's play. Solid week for me so far. Who's the best Salah replacement? As I already have Bowen, Foden, Saka, Palmer. I'll probably say again Richarlison if you don't have him in your midfield. I think he is a great replacement for Salah. I think out of all those midfielders, Richarlison is standing out for me. And we've got another comment from Edwin, who says, good thing I started Zinchenko. Now he will be substituted for Trent, but I started in Kunkun instead of Cunha. Oh yeah, it kind of hurts because yeah, Cunha got a nice return against Everton. Sorry. Yeah, I was surprised at Arsenal. I thought there was a clean sheet there for them, but it wasn't actually to be. They didn't even win. That game was a surprise again. Result. It does leave the top four very interesting going into New Year's. But at least you'll be substitute for Trent, so that's some good news on that sense because they didn't keep a clean sheet. But you started in Kunkun instead of Cunha there. That is quite annoying. I was expecting Kunkun though to get involved in that more, but yeah, unlucky. Harry Dawson uses no showing points for a bench in this shocking behaviour. Got a comment from Dan the Man. Hi Jordan, hello Dan. I decided to bench Darwin and play Palmer and Richarlison, paying off so far. Oh yeah, benching Darwin, that's interesting. Obviously, but playing Palmer and Richarlison, yeah, that has paid off so far. So I guess in that sense, if you had to bench one of them, and so far it has worked out. Obviously, we have to see what Darwin does, but it's going to be hard to outscore Palmer and Richarlison. But hopefully, Darwin, in your sense, doesn't get any returns from the bench. I got a comment from Levy. Says 52 points, Captain Foden. Nice, Captain. Very different. And you still got Edwin. No, sorry. That's not in regards to the comment. I'm just looking if you got any more. We got a comment from K7. It says, would you do Poro to Estupinian? No, I don't think I would do it Poro to Estupinian. I think I'll still want Poro, even though he did get a blank today. I felt like I was very late on that goal that Bournemouth scored, and I know Spurs do concede goals, but the reason why we brought Pedro Porro in was for the attacking threat. Even though he didn't get one tonight, I still think long term Pedro Porro is a nice hold in terms of defence, because there ain't really many popular picks in defence that we can really pick from at the moment. With clean sheets not really coming as a luxury, we've looked to players in defence that have that attacking threat, and Pedro Porro is one of them, as well as Estupinian as well. So I'll be playing both of them alongside each other rather than taking out one for the other. I think K7. A comment from Harry says, haven't owned Bruno this season. I like going for players no one else goes for. Bruno fits the bill for 4 weeks. Yeah, that's fair enough. I as well like to go for differentials that no one really has as well. And yeah, it could pay off. Surprisingly, you never know what you're going to expect from Man United each game week. So yeah, I suppose it's quite exciting going for like a player like Bruno, not knowing what you're going to get from him. A comment from Tricky Trees. It says, thoughts on me going Bowen over Saka if it means I have money to get Trent. Going Bowen over Saka, I mean, I'm not completely against this move. Even though Saka did score today, I still think Saka is, dare I say it, is worth taking out for maybe the likes of Bowen. I mean, I think it still would work out in my long term. I still think Bowen is a better pick than Saka. It does save money as well. Saka being 9 million and Bowen being almost 1 million cheaper than him. It does save money, which means, yeah, it funds the move money to get Trent. I think, yes. I think there's more upside of you selling Saka and bringing in, that means you can bring in Bowen and Trent as well, which are both two players long-term picks. So, yeah, I think, yeah, I like the move Tricky Trees, Bowen over Saka. I think even if Saka does get like an assist here and there, I still think it's not enough for the value for money he is, even though he did score. But yeah, I think Bowen over Saka is good, and that does leave money to get Trent in, which is even better, I think. And we've got a comment from Ua. He says, sold Gordon for Foden on 59 points, have Salah captain, Trent and area to play onto the 200k, not far of 100k, have like 20 points of it. Yeah, that's very good. Sold Gordon. That is, again, another popular transfer out. Gordon, especially with the fixture he has and the way Newcastle are playing for Foden, which has paid off massively with his double haul of 12 points. And you have Salah captain, which is, yeah, looking great for that Monday night fixture. Should be exciting. And we've got another point from Linus, who says, would you keep Alvarez along with Haaland and go 3-4-3 or get rid of Alvarez on the wildcard? This is a good question, actually. This is a very good question, because so far this season I have gone with Alvarez and Haaland alongside each other for most of it. And I will say, it hasn't really worked out having Alvarez in the team as much as I thought it would be, because he has played every game so far, but it doesn't feel like he's had that many goals and assists and being that consistent as much as Haaland has. And it does leave me whether Alvarez is worth keeping entirely, but if he keeps scoring the goals now from henceforth now, and especially with the Man City fixtures being not so bad either, I mean, I think it could still work out having Alvarez alongside Haaland, even though he's a bit expensive, Alvarez. But I think I still would keep Alvarez alongside with Haaland, because in a sense, if Haaland, like at the moment, if he's injured now long term, it does leave Alvarez as the key man up front for Man City, and he is penalty taker in the absence of Alvarez, absence of Haaland, sorry, as well. So yeah, I think I'll keep Alvarez when I wildcard. And got another comment from Crossberg, says, how many blank game weeks and double game weeks will there be this season, and what game week? Well, it's not confirmed at the moment when there are double game weeks so far this season, at least that I know of. I don't know of any double game weeks that have been 100% confirmed. as well as blank game weeks. Obviously, we've got the Asia Cup and AFCON competitions, so the players like Salah, Hwang, Wissa, and Decore, these type of players obviously will blank for the foreseeable until their team is either knocked out of the competition or when the competition officially ends. So you have to keep up to date with that and see what happens with those players that have obviously got the AFCON and Asia Cup. But in terms of double game weeks, I haven't seen any that are confirmed yet. And we've got a comment from Linus. It's Happy New Year, as well as Happy New Year as well. Jordan has to. Thank you, Linus. Happy New Year to you too. Hopefully, it's a nice year for 2024 for all of us. And last comment from K7. Would you recommend Pedro Porro for Brighton as? Oh, sorry, not Pedro Porro. João Pedro from Brighton as a third forward. Steve, that's an interesting one, João Pedro, because he's not been quite good in the last 2 game weeks. I don't know if I'll still go with it. I mean, he got a nice haul against Spurs, but he didn't play against West Ham. Oh wait. Oh, what am I saying? Obviously, he's yet to play against West Ham away, but he did play 90 minutes back to back in 18 and 19, and yeah, he's been playing more minutes, full 90 minutes, and in fact, his ownership is 11%, which is interesting. Didn't think it was that high, but fixtures for Brighton are pretty good. If he can hold and keep those 90 minutes up, and Zerbi plays him in his nice fixtures, then yeah, I think João Pedro could be a player to go for in terms of Brighton assets. So yeah, I would say he's a recommendation as a third forward as well. That's not a bad shout for a third forward as alongside the other two. So yeah, I would say yeah, K7. I think that is a good recommendation. And yeah, that's pretty much all your comments out the way. So yeah, obviously we will have content and videos on wildcard draft later down the line as well for you guys who are considering the wildcarding game at 21 like I am. And yeah, it has been a very interesting year at least. But yeah, Happy New Year's Eve and Happy New Year's Day to all of you celebrating. But yeah, in terms of I might as well go to my transfer page and show you if I was to wildcard what it would look like, and we can discuss what you guys think of my picks in that sense. So if I just swap over here, move the tab over. Yeah, perfect. So yeah, this is currently what my team looks like at the moment with the flags currently in it. So yeah, quite a few players that I don't like that I wish we would like to get rid of. So let's just start off with the defense. So Brantford will be taken out. Simicast will be taken out. Trippier, yeah, I think he'll be taken out. So that only leaves Pedro Porro and Trent that I think I was keeping my team in terms of defenders. So defender picks for me in the wild card, I think that appealed to me. Definitely Estupinian being one of them. I think I'll add him into there. In terms of other ones, I think I would go for cheaper assets. Like I'll go for Senesi, I think, for Bournemouth. Thinking 4.5, not bad one to have as a backup. And last defender pick. In terms of the last defender, who would I go for? Well, let's just say I put in. let's just say I put in Brantford for now. Let's just say that he's cheap and saves money. But let's move on to the midfield. So Saka, I don't think he'll be in my wild card if I was to do it. Decoy, definitely not. Salah, obviously, is not in it. And obviously, Hwang only needs Foden in there. And I don't think I would have Foden in there either because he could be a minute's risk with De Bruyne back in the team. So yeah, completely stripped midfield, I think. So to start off with in the midfield, definitely Palmer in for me. I think he's been excellent. Another midfielder, Richarlison, definitely in for me in the absence of Son being at the Asia Cup. Other for midfielder picks that I would consider, definitely Bowen again. I like the looks of Bowen so far this season. I wish I had him prior to his goals. In terms of other picks, so we've got Richarlison, Bowen, and Palmer so far. Obviously, Pascal Gross is under my radar. Not entirely sure about Pascal Gross, but he's in there for the current moment. And as a last midfielder pick, has left me a bit in a bit of a 50-50 whether I'd like this player or not to go forward with. But it would be trying to think who could be a nice fifth forward replacement. Right, guys, I'm just looking at the selection. I think with Neto back fit, he could be a good chance to go for. I think I would put Neto as a maybe as the last midfielder spot for now. Let's just say that for now. Obviously, if moving on to the forwards, they'll take out Wissa, to keep Alvarez in, and take out Watkins. Definitely have Haaland when he's back in the team. And I think my third forward would be Chris Wood for Nottingham Forest because with Alvarez still out for long term, a few weeks, not back until February. I think Chris Wood is a nice, cheap third forward to go with. But I think this is what my wild card would look like. It has 6.3 money left in the bank, so there's a lot of money spare, obviously because of not having Son and Salah and those expensive assets in the team. But yeah, I think this is what my wild card would look like if I was to do it in Gameweek 21. I think I'll be quite happy with the midfield. The defense, I'll probably play Pedro Porro, Estupiñán, and Trent most game weeks, and obviously play the midfield 5, and probably play Alvarez and Haaland up front with Wood and Senesi and Brantford on the bench. So let me just get a few comments from you guys to see how what you think of the wildcard team. So a comment from Linus who says Gusto. I mean, yeah, Gusto is another great option that I could add to the wildcard. Let's check how expensive Gusto is. Let's say I take Senesi out. Replace him with Gusto. Yeah, Gusto 4.2 million. Does save a bit of money. He did blank against Luton, but managed to get an assist against Crystal Palace at home. The thing is, again, clean sheets are not the most persistent from Chelsea either. Yeah, it's not great from Chelsea in terms of clean sheets. Attacking threat, though, I can see why Gusto becomes an option at that price too. So yeah, maybe Gusto at the fixtures are not so bad. They are a bit iffy around Gameweek 25. onwards. But yeah, Gusto could be another great pick as a differential pick for a defender. And comment from Roman says, for budget purposes, Richarlison and Udogie or Brendan Johnson and Porro. I think Richarlison and Udogie, because obviously Udogie's much cheaper than Pedro Porro, and yeah, it saves money there. Richarlison a little bit more expensive, obviously, than Brendan Johnson, but I think Richarlison is the main man now for Spurs in regards to Son going to the Asia Cup. So yeah, if I was going with the attacker, I would favour Richarlison, and obviously having the cheaper defender Udogie, because even though there's no clean sheets coming from Spurs at the moment, Udogie does have attacking threat like Pedro Porro. Probably not as much as Pedro Porro, but I do like Richarlison, and maybe Udogie can get something here and there if there is an attacking return from him. So for budget purposes, I'll probably say Richarlison and Udogie. And in this case, it's Neto is back now, and yes, that is why I've sort of included in my wildcard, because when obviously Neto, before he got injured, he was on fire in terms of assists so far in the season. Because if you check Neto's attacking record before he got injured, he had 8 assists prior to that injury. So yeah, he was on fire. He's 1.4% owned now, so he becomes a massive differential after obviously being out for so long, being injured. So yeah, definitely one to look at and consider, or Eze, or Elise. Yeah, another 2 great picks. I'm not too keen on the Crystal Palace assets, even though they did well this game week. I still wouldn't be too sold on them. I think I would be set more on Neto, considering his performances prior to his injury. I think Wolves look much better with Neto back in their team. So I think I will opt for Neto. In case some of this, don't forget about Ivan Toney. Yeah, Ivan Toney, obviously he'll be back for Gameweek 21 after his suspension for reasoning. Ivan Toney has been in the back of my head. I've heard rumours maybe he might leave Brentford in the January window. Not too sure whether that news is concrete or not, but whether he stays at Brentford will be huge as well for obviously the manager and the team, because he's a massive miss, Ivan Toney. But yeah, he could be a great option going into New Year's, Ivan Toney, especially with Mbromo being out and not much attacking threat for Brentford. If Ivan Toney come back, could change a lot. And no Watkins. Yeah, no Watkins. I mean, again, it's another. I do want to go slightly different. I know Alvarez isn't different really to Watkins, but I'm still experimenting with the forward line. I think still split if I want to keep Alvarez with alongside Haaland, but I do have a lot of money, so I could upgrade Wood to maybe like a Watkins or some other forward. So yeah, it's still in the experimental stage, but yeah, Watkins is, even though he's out of the wild card, he's still considered obviously in my mind for the wild card. Let me just add in there. I'm coming from Roman says, for the wildcard team, would you keep your goalkeepers? Also, what about João Pedro? Yeah, I think I would keep my goalkeepers. I mean, there's not really an outstanding goalkeeper I'd go for the fixtures at the moment. I mean, the Brighton goalkeeper would be nice, but Brighton don't really keep clean sheets. And Leno does get a clean sheet here and there, as well as Areola. So yeah, I think I'd keep my goalkeepers the same. I don't think I'll change them. And yeah, João Pedro again. I mean, yeah, he could be my third forward. I could take out Wood for João Pedro. I'm just not sure about João Pedro, but yeah, he could be a nice pick, I think. So yeah, I have thought about João Pedro. He is in the mindset as well. Got a comment from Lynn. Senesi is actually a good pick. They have a guaranteed double soon, along with Luton, Brentford, and City. Yeah, because of that, obviously that suspended match from Luton game, due to Lockyer collapsing and the game being called off. It does leave some double game weeks to be scheduled very soon. And I've like look at Senesi as well. I mean, I've liked the look at Bournemouth in general. They've been pretty good. Senesi is now on 2 goals and 2 assists. For a defender, that's pretty good. And 5.5% ownership. I mean, if Senesi gets anything from games, it is very rewarding, and he does get the odd bonus points here and there as well. If he does get like a mega haul or a nice clean sheet. So yeah, at the price of 4.5 mil, Senesi could be another defender to go for when there's nice fixtures for Bournemouth. Roman says no Arsenal on the wild card. Yeah, I've not. In terms of fantasy football, I've not really appealed. I've not been really appealed to going for an Arsenal player in the team. I mean, especially after watching that game today against Fulham. Apart from Saka scoring, there isn't really much I can really like go on with that. I think Saka is really the only person I would want to consider as an Arsenal asset. Odegaard and Martinelli don't really get as much involvement as we did see last season, as we would have double, triple midfield. Maybe Jesus, but again, Jesus was benched and Nketiah had to start, so there's a rotation risk there. Martinelli's a rotation risk with Trossard, which only really leaves Odegaard and Saka as options. And Odegaard ain't really firing on all pistons at the moment this season. Saka, even though he got a goal today, still feel like it hasn't been as much involvement from him. If you've watched Arsenal, we haven't seen much involvement. I think this is the most involvement I've seen in through Arsenal's games. So yeah, I think with no more Arsenal on the wild card, I wouldn't be surprised if I see a few wild cards with no Arsenal either. I think. And got another comment from Malfoy. Says, "Hey, brilliant stream so far. Thank you, Malfoy, but that's very appreciated. Thanks for all the insights. I just wanted to ask for your opinion on consuming." Okay, I'm not reading that comment. That's yeah. Apologies, guys, for that comment. That will not be tolerated in the chat. So move on to K7. If not this week, what other week is the better week to wildcard? I think it's team dependent on when you wildcard. Does depend on what your team does look like. Because if I just reset, well, actually not reset. Let me just move on to what my team looks like without the changes. This is what my team currently looks like before I have made any transfers, and you can see the amount of flags I have. I've got 5 flags, 2 are in the starting 11, and 3 are on the bench. So in my situation, I could be in wildcard territory, or I could be in the territory of taking hits for 2 to 3 game weeks to getting rid of the flags. So I think depending on how your team looks, it does depend on when you use the wildcard. But I think a lot of us will use the wildcard when AFCON and Asia Cup finish. Obviously, we want to bring these players back in to our teams as well. So around that time when you want Salah and Son back in, and you can't afford the move from maybe a -4 or 3 transfers, you might need to do it from a wildcard instead. So it might be worth around that time. It could be potentially Gameweek 25, 26, where the wildcard may be popular around that area of the season. And you got no comment from Jaden. I was going to play my wildcard this week, to be honest. I'm loading up on Triple City, thinking Haaland, Alvarez, and Foden. If I score highly, will you chow down? Oh, for goodness sake. Right, we stop with these comments in the chat? It is not. Right, that comment was removed. Will not be tolerated in the chat for those type of comments, please. I've got a comment from Linus who says, "You guys need some mods, too many idiots on here." Yeah, eventually down the line, we will sort out moderation, and so we're sort of like still in the process of obviously doing these kind of things. But yeah, definitely something we will need to do soon. And we've got another comment from Tricky Trees. Great stream, Jordan. Happy New Year to you and Huss. Yes, thank you, Tricky Trees. Happy New Year to you as well. And yeah, hopefully Huss does make a speedy recovery. But yeah, hopefully your 2024 is a lovely year. But yeah, literally, it has been a great stream, guys. Thank you, obviously, for watching throughout. I always appreciate it with your support. Do leave a comment in the chat if you wish, or in the comment section below. Give this video a like as well. And yeah, subscribe for more content if you haven't already. There should be a lot more to come. Obviously, there's a 2-week break coming up, obviously, for January. And yeah. And yeah, it does give us a lot of time to think about what to do with our teams. And yeah, it's a lovely break into the new year as well. So I think I will wrap up the stream here, because I think we've talked about pretty much everything to cover for Game Week 20 and obviously the insight into Game Week 21. But yeah, guys, this is the last stream for 2023. So the next one will be in 2024. So hopefully you've had a nice year in 2023. It's been a roller coaster of a year, I think, for a lot of us. But yeah, on that note, just under an hour of streaming. Hopefully you guys are happy with how I presented this stream. So far. So yeah, I will obviously end it there. I will just remove overlays and whatnot. Yeah, guys, take care. Have a great New Year's Day or Eve, wherever you are in the world. And until then, we'll see you in the New Year's in 2024. But until then, take care and take it easy.